Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. How you doing? This is Cover 4 with the guys. How's it going, Nick?
I'm feeling great. I just got to give a quick shout out to my boys. Obviously, y'all know I'm a Falcons fan. I am also an Atlanta Braves fan. We got game one of the World Series tonight. We're about to kick the Astros' ass. Let's get it.
Yes, that is exciting, even though I am not a baseball fan at all. How you doing today, Terrance?
Man, doing good. Just took the boys to this trunk or treat. Boys.
He's on dad hours.
It's crazy. Yeah, I was on daddy time.
Jig gonna be on dad time from now until damn near the end of time.
Eternity, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that shit kicking in high gear. Holiday season.
We ain't claiming that.
And they're gonna have the other baby in what, March? Yeah, you about to be year round.
That's it for me. Hey, but listen, Tate though, he almost at the age where he's more, self-sufficient, and then Taylor kind of follows him. So hopefully Taylor, potty trains faster and stuff. So I mean, it's funny because he goes like he'll go like in the shower or something, or he'll go stand next to the toilet. He'll look down. It'd be funny.
He said, "I don't know what's supposed to go on right now, but I'm not too sure. I just know I'm supposed to stand here and look down."
It's funny because like whenever we about to put him in the shower, take his clothes off, take his diaper off, and then he's done it plenty of times where he stood in front of the shower and like peed on the floor, and I'm like, but he gets the idea though. He gets the idea. So
it's funny. Kids are a blast that me and Nick don't know about. We are animal dads, but I do know those two little boys, and they are hilarious. So moving on to the exciting, what was that, week 7 we had in the NFL?
Yes, sir.
It was crazy. A lot of exciting things. To start it off, we had the beat down that the Titans put on the Chiefs. It was disrespectful, 3-27. Terrance, if you are Chiefs fans or, you're part of the management, how do you feel? Like, do you think it's panic mode time?
Listen, I've been calling this for weeks now, honestly. Everybody who's been listening to the pod can back that up and vouch for this. I mean, for me personally, it's panic time for them. I mean, it's not looking good at all because when you think about it, you think about the Chiefs, you know that, okay, if anything, we're going to make it a high-scoring game. It's going to be a shootout, if anything, because, okay, our defense can't stop them, but at least we can score. Titans defense ain't that good, and they held y'all to 3 points.
That's the scary thing, that defense isn't spectacular, and they held them. Out of all offenses, they held them.
Yeah, it's insane. I think, like I said, I think I called it. I mean, I think teams are starting to catch up to, the style of game that they play. And, you can get them behind. I mean, yeah, they love to throw the ball, but, I mean, realistically, they haven't really looked that good this year. So.
That's true. That's true. What you think, Nick?
I mean, I agree. We were all texting, all the guys were texting in the group chat while that was happening because we were like in disbelief. Terrance called it early. He said they're already in panic mode. But I don't think any of us, and I said my prediction was, if they can't beat Tennessee, I thought this was going to be their comeback week. But I mean, like that, and I was saying if they lose, period, like by 3 points, I'd be like, all right, it's panic mode. And they got mollywopped. So I don't know, outside of maybe Tampa, in my opinion, Tennessee has the worst secondary in the NFL, but statistics would tell you it's Tampa. So regardless, they're either 1 or 2 worst in the NFL in secondary. And if there's one thing you can rely on the Chiefs with, it's passing offense. And the fact that they couldn't get anything going, I mean, that was terrible to watch. So, I mean, if they weren't in panic mode yet, now you were smashing that button.
The Titans lost Caleb Farley, that first round draft pick for the year too. So
the only one they had was a rookie coming off a broken neck, bro. And you didn't even have to worry about that.
It's crazy if you look at it. For me, though, if I'm, Chiefs fans or Chiefs GM, I'm not hitting the panic mode yet because people forget that. Look, check me out. This is the only reason why I'm not hitting the panic mode. Remember that year they won the Super Bowl? They played from behind that whole run. Remember every game they were in, they were like, okay,
but they were winning games.
But what I'm saying is that they have that offense to be able to be like, you know what, we can get hot, and they know they can. Because you got to think, other than Tyreek Hill dropping the ball, if Mahomes just takes a couple sacks or throw the ball out of bounds, like at least half of his turnovers probably don't happen because he's just forcing it. But then again, I listened to, they were talking about it Colin Card and a couple other people on like ESPN and everything were just bringing up the fact that their defense is so bad that he's probably thinking like every play I gotta score. And he's like, he's not settling for like, hey, I can get a field goal. He's like, no, I have to score.
It's crazy though, because you think about it, like, okay, you're down, 7, 14, however many points. Like in that game, they lost by 24, but
yeah, a lot.
There's no 24-point play.
No.
So at the end of the day, I mean, you got to take it, one drive at a time, one play at a time. And I mean, if you look at it, I mean, this Giants team they play this week beat the Panthers.
Yeah.
I mean, then they play the Packers, Raiders, who already have success in beating them. When they got to play them twice. They play the Cowboys, who are hot. They play the Broncos twice. Who they can beat the Broncos, but they also play the Chargers and the Bengals, who are hot as well. So it's not going to be easy for sure. No.
I just think like if I'm them, if you can get Mahomes to clean up some stuff, but I mean he's been like that his whole career. We're taking big risks and playing a little unorthodox. But I don't know. They just, to me, I'm not going to count them out yet because I feel like it's easy just to be like, yeah, they're going to, play bad and it's going to continue. I've seen what they've done when they went to the Super Bowl, get into the Super Bowl. I just think it's a matter of that they were just too arrogant of addressing the defense and being super cocky. So they're going to deal with that.
My homeboy definitely turning the ball over too now. I mean, he wasn't doing that in previous years, and this year he's turning it over a lot more.
I guess my thing is this: when I say panic button, I don't necessarily mean the season's over, but now it's time to like take a real look in the mirror and be like, all right, what are we doing? We have 18 weeks this year as opposed to 17. There's 17 total games now, so I mean they can still turn it around. But I mean, at the end of the day, coming off a Super Bowl run where, who knows what would have happened if the offensive line was ready to rumble. But, you're talking about a team we're talking about dynasty potential, looks like one of the bottom tier teams in the league right now. So that's why I say panic button time.
I got you. So moving forward, we had Carson Wentz put on a show in not a sandstorm. I was trying to say something, but I don't know what I was about to say.
Rainstorm.
It was storming, bro. I would have been so mad if I was out there playing ball. It was pouring. They had to exchange the balls at halftime. How do you think Wentz looks so far, Terrance?
I mean, I think he looks like the Eagles Wentz. I mean, we see already that honestly, like he's turning the corner as far as his performance. Turnovers, things like that, just fumbling, because he was fumbling a whole lot with the Eagles before he ended up getting traded and everything. Just a whole bunch of like, what are you doing moments. Yeah. And now, honestly, what really benefits him is that the running game. And then, guys I feel like have stepped up, like Michael Pittman Jr. stepping up big, making big time catches. And then, Paris Campbell and the rest of the group with, T.Y. Hilton being out. So, I mean, guys are stepping up, and I mean, they're deep at running back. So it's not a problem either. So, and then defensive wise, we know that their defense, is
Pittman's giving his best, slower version of a Mike Evans impersonation. He literally is physical. He's a big dude. He's just not that fast, and he fights for the ball. Nick, do you think this team can get into the playoffs, even being in that same division as the Titans?
I mean, yeah, because one, that division's terrible. So you have some games that, and I shouldn't say terrible because they're just top heavy. Because I mean, like them and the Titans are clearly playoff. In my opinion, both teams could and probably should make the playoffs. So you got basically 4 easy games on your schedule between the Texans and the Jaguars. So you should clear those out. And then on top of that, the fact that they click in all the right areas, especially the way that they can match up against the Titans. So they have a stout defense top to bottom, and those wide receivers are kind of playing a lot better than what we think they were going to be. And then plus you have a solid running game with Jonathan Taylor. We see what the offensive line has done for Carson Wentz. If you look at Wentz's numbers from that game, they don't look that great. But again, they were playing in a very rainy situation. The fact that he was still able to go 17 for 26, 2 touchdowns, no picks is huge. So
he would have had 3 if Naheem Hines didn't drop the damn ball.
Man.
Exactly. Yeah, that was bad.
Oh my God, bro.
He's so fast, bro. He would have been gone.
I had him in fantasy. He pissed me off about it.
Nah. So yeah, I mean, I think they definitely could. Now, whether or not they can really make noise in the playoffs, I don't know about that much, but they could make the playoffs.
Definitely.
I mean, I feel like there's still a lot of games left, 10 games left, and they still have a lot of time to catch steam, if they can, continue to win a lot of these big games, I feel like.
Yeah, and obviously Carson Wentz is still
fire.
getting used to the team. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they catch fire. So, we'll get to see for sure.
I think it's starting to show that they kind of trust Wentz, like no matter what he does, they're kind of just like, you know what, we're going to trust you. Whatever you do, we're behind you, because it doesn't seem to be too much bad things they're saying about him. You know what I mean? Like it seems like everybody, Frank Wright's backing him. Everybody's kind of getting behind him. So that's good to see. This is something not so good for Seattle fans out in the Pacific Northwest. I know they're hurting. Seattle's woes continue without Russell Wilson. What do you guys think? What do you think this leaves Seattle looking like, Nick?
I mean, it's kind of exposing what they've been for the last couple of years, which has literally just been let's Russ cook, which sounds great when he's on the field and torching teams, but without him, what are they? I mean, the bad part was it was another one of those rainy games last night. Not a very exciting Monday Night Football game. If you love defense, I mean, it was a lot of fun to watch. But I mean, it exposed your team. I mean, you let Alvin Kamara do whatever he wanted last night on defense. Offensively, I'll give one little thing. Geno Smith has not looked bad, but he's clearly not the same thing as Russ. And when DK Metcalf is, I know he had the one big play, and a lot of people are focused on that, but he got locked up when he started, beefing with Lattimore. So I mean,
people try to beef with him, it ain't worked. Ask Mike Evans. He got away with that one time. Mike Evans ain't had a game against that man ever since.
Yeah, he had that one awesome touchdown, which was huge. But then after that, I think he had a total of 5 targets, like 3 catches. It wasn't really, besides that one catch, those are all his stats.
That one, it was 80, I think like 84 yards.
Yeah, Lockett's been kind of having a weird season too. He's usually one of the most reliable receivers. So I mean, this puts Russ in the driver's seat for whatever he wants this offseason. So I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
To see. I mean, I definitely agree with that. At the end of the day, like you said, I feel like this definitely exposes Seattle. And I don't know what's up with Pete Carroll thinking that, we have the Cleveland Browns offensive line. We just gonna run the ball 30 times. So Alex Collins, like, come, bro, y'all offensive line, you're not generating the rushing yards.
Not against that defensive line, bro. Not against that D line.
It's insane. And the crazy thing is, Seattle actually outplayed them in the first half. Granted, the Saints, they were getting a lot of personal fouls and stuff like that, a lot of 15-yard penalties, which definitely helped Seattle out. The kicker need to lose his job because this man, goodness gracious. And then, their passing game, like you said, without Russ is non-existent. I mean, offense is terrible, bro. It's terrible. End of the game, Geno Smith got sacked on every play.
I mean, to me, if you even look at it, it's not even just an offensive thing; it's a defensive thing. Like if you look at it, Pete Carroll, every time he gets into it with a player, he sends the player off. You saw Earl go, you saw Richard go, Cam retired probably early. He said it was because of just the style of play, but everything plays a factor. And now you look at it, their defense isn't good. So even if Russ is there, like you probably can't keep going as far as you want because your defense is so bad. Like you got to think that Saints offense didn't have Mike Thomas. They didn't have their switchblade army knife and Taysom Hill. They just had Alvin Kamara and Jameis getting mad that his receivers were dropping the ball. Because you got to think, if they catch those balls, bro, Jameis was throwing some nice balls all around the field for him. It's probably over early.
Yeah, Kenny Stills, and you had Kevin White.
Yeah,
I don't know. I definitely agree with you. I mean, I feel like it makes them way more competitive with Russ because we know how dangerous their passing attack is with him. And I feel like, even with Geno Smith, like, when you play with somebody for such a long time and then another guy comes in and instead of throwing the moon ball, he's throwing it kind of more on the rope. I don't know. I feel like a lot of that stuff does factor in, but at the same time, I feel like Alvin Kamara at one point had more receptions than Geno Smith had completions. Let that sink in.
Alvin Kamara had his best CMC day performance as in usage rate because Carolina does that with CMC. They just, hey, we're gonna give you the ball, go over here, run it. We're just gonna give you the ball. Like the Saints literally did that.
Their game plan was like immaculate. They just kept him away from Bobby Wagner, and they ran him all over the field. That was like amazing.
Yeah, he's running those choice routes.
Yeah, it was like, okay, all right, where's Bobby? All right, we'll get you the other way.
Bro, it was so funny to see because he would run towards Bobby, right, and then go the other way, and then the outside linebacker, the corner, wouldn't even like pay attention.
They wouldn't guard him.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's getting rough in Seattle. It's safe to say that this offseason in Seattle, if it doesn't turn around, it's probably gonna be something to see. Now we shift gears onto the other side of the team that played last night, the Saints. What do you think about that offense without Mike Thomas, Terrance?
I mean, last night was a testament to show like how important it is to have that guy that's your number one or that reliable guy that you know if I pass him the ball, he's going to catch it. No matter if it's contested, he's wide open, no matter the case. Obviously, we know how big of a factor Michael Thomas is for this offense. Granted, now they have Jameis Winston, but, you know, Jameis does have a big arm, and he's making a whole lot better decisions. You know, him getting through games, not throwing any interceptions, that's big. That's really big. Granted, he had a couple plays, a couple throws in there where I was like, oh, okay, James. But I feel like, I don't know. I don't even know if Michael Thomas wants to stay at this point. But, with the trade deadline coming up,
he's not even
going to have a choice. But
he's not even ready to come back yet either, though.
Yeah, I know. But, other teams know what he can do. And, they're going to, give up some players or draft picks for him. So, I feel like he's definitely important for this team because, he's their clear number one. And then the other guys, I feel like they're great supporting cast, but they don't have any true number one receivers out there without him. And then obviously losing Jared Cook to the Chargers, that's a big miss as well for them. As far as, having that safety blanket as well as Taysom Hill not playing, but,
Yeah, they're super thin on offense. The depth isn't the same like it is on defense. Defense, they're pretty deep, honestly, in different aspects. Nick, I'm going to talk to you about this. I do not want to talk about this. It honestly pissed me off on Sunday. Yes, the Jungle Bengals are for real, and Marlon Humphreys needs to talk to God or something. I don't know, because that shit looked ridiculous. Jamar Chase explodes against our all-pro corner, has a field day with him, and the Bengals bring the jungle to M&T Bank Stadium. We had 5 straight wins against the Bengals previously. How do you feel about this, Nick? How was the whole performance?
I've been, one of the jokes of the season has been what I've said.
Oh yeah, your boy.
But again, I still stand by everything I say. I think he proves me more right every week. There was never a problem with the ball. There was never a problem with his hand size. Any of that was all nonsense. He just needed to shake the nerves. And once he got that game experience, once week 1 hit, he was ready to play, and he has not missed a stride since. The dude's
snapping ever since.
Y'all know,
is insane.
Y'all know that one of my favorite up and coming quarterbacks is Joe Burrow. I think he plays insane, and I need the world to take a second to also think about this. That one of the most underrated aspects of his game is his pocket awareness is absolutely out of this world in terms of, and he had to learn how to evade sacks because that offensive line was so bad last year. Cost him his rookie season, basically. But it was weird to see because obviously the Ravens defense has been thinned out with Peters being out for the year, but Humphreys is still the starting quarterback on like 90% of NFL rosters, and he got cooked. Or Humphreys. Humphreys,
not Humphreys.
Sorry.
Oh, you know how to say somebody's name? Excuse me.
Yeah. That's
okay. Raheem Moisture. All right. Anyway,
that's the name I know how to say. Okay.
Marlon Humphrey. I apologize. He got cooked yesterday, pretty bad. The tight end was cooking y'all too. I don't know what to say because it was all Joe Mixon. They are one of the most prolific offenses to this point in the year. Now, we did talk. I do think that their offensive line is overperforming and at a certain point could get exposed. But the 2 most shocking teams to me at this point of the year are the Arizona Cardinals, like we said, being undefeated and how good they are. And again, I predicted the Bengals, I think, having 3 wins on the season, and it looks like they're going to absolutely crush that. So,
that's insane.
What I have to say though for the Ravens, and I will always defend Lamar Jackson, the dude has no help on offense, none whatsoever. I mean, the Bengals defense clearly has improved, but they're not that good. He couldn't get any help from his receivers. He couldn't get any help from the running game is literally non-existent if it's not him. So I hate to see it. I think it was just a bad game for the Ravens. I think they'll bounce back, but and then also an awesome game for the Bengals. So it's crazy to see.
What do you think?
I mean, honestly, I think, the Bengals, honestly, just putting the league on notice at the end of the day. I mean, they're clicking on all phases of the game right now. So, I mean, you just got to give, credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy because, last week and we were sitting here and we were thinking that Lamar was going to make that linebacker eat his words. And then, I mean, they came out and
they came to play.
They showed up. I mean, end of the day, it is any given Sunday, at the end of the day. And, I mean, the Bengals have been, on fire, to say the least. And they're playing well. So at the end of the day, you can't do nothing but respect it. And, it's crazy to see these teams that you're so used to being average or, mediocre or just like not playing up to their potential. But them, I mean, they're definitely putting a bright light on all their potential. And, I mean, they might only get, better from here. And, the other, I guess, shocker would probably be for me is probably like the Chiefs, obviously Cardinals. But, man, I mean, Bengals they're looking really good right now. They're very, very confident. It's scary to see right now.
They're playing with so much confidence. It's crazy because I think another underrated thing for Joe Burrow, Nick brought up his awareness. I think his toughness is super underrated, bro. He knows he's going to get hit damn near every time. And he's just like, bro, I'm going to deliver this ball and whatever happens, happens. And he's been delivering the ball deep. So I remember him coming out of college. That was a knock that he couldn't deliver a good deep ball. And he's been hitting it pretty good on the money so far. I have to pull up his pro football stats, next week and see exactly how he ranks up. But I think he's been delivering it pretty good so far from what I've seen. Jamar Chase looks spectacular. Remember I brought up that Joe Mixon was a top 5 running back, and people were like, "Oh, he really is," because
he is
behind that play action, behind those deep throws, is him just running between the tackles, between the guards, and getting a ton of yards. So they got him. Defense is playing well. Kudos to them, though. I'm happy they're doing good. It's nice to see, another team in the division doing good, honestly, because I like it being competitive. I just didn't like us losing.
That's
the Ravens, man, y'all look terrible. All the defensive players need to learn how to tackle. Nick alluded to Lamar Jackson's weapons. They got better, but honestly, I don't know if these dudes can't get no separation. Wide out wise, it seems like Hollywood Brown is the only person that can get separation. Rashard Bateman's making the splash. The running back, injuries, all that. I wish we would have got Julio because it probably would have been way more helpful. And you could see it even now that having him probably would have been a big help, even though he's dealing with injuries. It's just crazy. I would
just chalk it up to an off game.
Yeah.
Honestly, y'all were due for, like you said, the injuries and everything. Y'all were due for a bad game, and that's what happened Sunday.
Yeah, I'm gonna chop it up to that too, but I chopped it up to they were just being real like arrogant that they were gonna roll the Bengals like they've been doing, and they just thought they was gonna wake up, roll them, and that ain't what happened. The boys came to play, and that's how it was. But like I keep telling everybody in Ravens flock, Ravens Nation, that these injuries are gonna show face soon, and it's gonna start getting more evident that we're missing the guys we need because you can't just keep bringing up people off the street and next man up. That shit only works for so long. Like you can't say next man up on like your 10th man. It doesn't make sense. Like the next man up shit, or that's like, all right, we got to go to our third person out of like a couple injuries. Not like we done had 16 injuries and we're going next man up, man. We need to go next man up on the strength and conditioning coach. But that's another topic for another day. Another big thing that happened. Well, I mean, we knew it was gonna happen. The Patriots dog walked the Jets so bad that they brought back Joe Flacco.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that, Terrance? I know you were hyped.
I mean, for me, definitely good to see us get rolling, pretty much scoring on every drive, pretty much. The big thing for us, I feel like scoring touchdowns because we were kicking a hell of a lot of field goals. Pretty much, before the past couple of weeks, we started coming on a lot more, finishing drives as far as getting touchdowns. And honestly, I'm going to speak my piece. We are a couple plays away from being 5-2 or 6-1. The Saints game, we played terrible, and I will give us maybe another loss somewhere. But we definitely, honestly, were a couple plays from being a way better football team. But now, honestly, we have to beat the better teams. Like this week, we play the Chargers. We got to show up. So, I mean, for us, that's what it boils to. I feel like, everyone on the team feels like the record doesn't necessarily speak for, the level of play that we have played. Because, I mean, we played the Bucks. We played, good teams, Dallas. We played teams and, we're right there, play away in pretty much in every game from winning the game.
I just think it shows that you guys, you like, I keep bringing it up every week when we keep talking about the Patriots, but just that big play, like if Mac had someone that was like a sure safety blanket or like a big play splash player, it makes such a difference. You know what I mean? Because then
I feel like the play calling is what gives us our big play ability. Because Josh McDaniels, he can draw up some plays for sure.
Definitely does, but just having that top wideout, like we say it about Lamar too, but like I feel like for Mac, especially in that offense, because they're gonna dink and dunk for a little bit and then get him going, get his confidence rolling like they have been, and they're gonna take some shots. So if he just had someone that was reliable, like I don't know, maybe like a Darren Waller type tight end or just elite wide out, it'd make a difference to us. But
oh yeah, it definitely would for sure.
Nick, how you feel about the Patriots dog walking the Jets?
I mean, that was to be expected. I'll say this, not like that, but no,
it definitely was to be expected though. You ain't wrong.
But yeah, like
I expected us to win. I didn't expect us to like.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I expected y'all to win the game, and probably like if I had to put a number on it beforehand, it would have been like 31-10 or like 28-14. But that was kind of embarrassing. But we know what Bill's record is when
against
rookie quarterbacks. And it didn't even matter because Zach Wilson got taken out the game. They put in Mike White. Yeah. So the Jets have always kind of been beat by the Patriots regime. So, but it was good to see. Mac got. It was kind of like a rep game for them, almost like a scrimmage. And
he had his first 300-yard passing game.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all look great. Y'all had a lot of good things. But I do agree. Going forward, I hate to say it because it's one of those things where you can't really like get too hype about, because if you play like some of the best talent in the league, it could, if that's what you go off of, you could end up getting whopped by someone of lesser talent.
Yeah, we definitely got to beat better teams.
Yeah,
we got to beat better teams.
So
for sure.
Yeah, if y'all could pull that win from the off on the Chargers, I think that'd be a big.
That'd be a big one.
Factor.
That'd be a really big one.
And then just going forward, if you guys can build off of that, that'd be kind of neat. So we got halftime here. Nick, who are your top 10 players of the week, bro? Who you got?
All right.
We want to hear it.
So it was kind of weird trying to pick out like someone in particular going away first, but I wanted to throw this man in some flowers. Cooper Kupp, man, he's been having a huge season. We've been talking about it. He had 10 receptions, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's a lot of receivers' career game. Like that's a lot of people's best game of their career. And to put that up this week, that Rams offense has been rolling. Second, gotta shout out our guy Dearness Johnson, someone who's been begging for a shot since he got in the league. They were down bad at the running back position. And he said, "Don't worry, I got y'all." It was a gritty game. It was a defensive game, and he was able to get in there. Put up 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, had the highest graded Pro Football Focus rating of any running back. Now, I don't know if that stood after last night with Alvin Kamara, but before last night's game, I know that was true, and I think it still stood true. Number 3, I'm going to go with Demario Davis. Had an absolute monster game last night. I know we talked about the struggles of the offenses between the Saints and the Seahawks, but we have to give credit where credit's due. The defense played great, and Demario Davis was definitely the star of last night's game. I feel like a lot of times, defense kind of falls to the wayside, but he had 10 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and hit the quarterback 3 times. Then I'm going to go Alvin Kamara. And honestly, at this point, before the season, and I'll give Keith the nod on this, I chose CMC. He chose Alvin Kamara. At this point, I would take Alvin because the difference between the two there, are they a quarter flip? Sure, but Alvin's on the field. And the dude put up 179 total yards of offense. Basically played wide receiver last night in the slot. Had 10 catches. For any running back, that's ridiculous. Jamar Chase, 8 catches, over 200 yards, a touchdown. Looked ridiculous. Cooked Humphrey
That shit was ridiculous, bro. He was cooking that man something serious.
Yeah, right after that, we had Joe Burrow. He put up 416 yards. If you look at his percentage, I believe it was 60% on the dot, which isn't great. But, I mean, it's because he was taking a lot of shots, and he wasn't scared to go against that defense. So I don't really knock him for the percentage because he was taking shots, had 3 touchdowns, over 400 yards. I mean, that's a great game. Sam Hubbard, another one. We got 3 straight Bengals in a row, you know. Being able to put that much pressure on someone like Lamar Jackson, who is impossible to get in the backfield. You know, when everyone talked about when Myles Garrett put up the tombstones, he put up the tombstone for Lamar Jackson, could only got 1 sack. I mean, getting 1 sack on him is insane. He had 2.5. So, I mean,
I'm not going to lie. Them boys took full advantage of that beat up offensive line. They were like,
and that is true.
We're going to destroy this line. And they just dog walked it. It was crazy.
So 2.5 sacks on Lamar Jackson's insane. Aaron Rodgers numbers didn't look insane, but he had 77% completion percentage. He had 3 touchdowns, no picks. And, you know, his big thing is he always has one of the highest quarterback ratings, 127. Definitely had to shout out my boy Kyle Pitts. He took off, you know, he's pacing to beat all kind of rookie tight end records. And that's with 2 games where they didn't even think about giving him the ball. So he's starting, you know, we're in a season where you get 1 extra game and he's already playing 1 game behind, basically. 163 yards off 7 catches, looked ridiculous. Like we said, didn't have difficult routes, got him up in the seams, up and down the field, and he was working it. And then Matt Stafford. Honestly, Matt Stafford probably could have been higher on this list, but at this point, I am giving it a lot to his receiving core and the play calling of Sean McVay. No knock on him. I mean, he's playing great. Definitely still probably in the top 5 to 7 range of MVP ratings. So, you know, 334, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Great game.
Yeah, I like how you put Rodgers in there. One thing about A-Rod, you ain't going to get too many picks off of him. He either throwing the ball away or he's just going to take the sack. Like, you ain't getting too many picks off A-Rod. That's a big one. I'm shocked you ain't have Derrick Henry in there throwing, you know, he turned into a quarterback this past week. He threw a touchdown.
Like 86 yards.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
no rushing touchdowns. It was kind of a lackluster day by his standards.
He ain't dominate this week. So,
and really the defense was the highlight of their team. So,
yeah, King ain't turning up this week.
He didn't, but he threw a touchdown. So, you know, we gonna only he did that same play against Baltimore in the playoffs. I remember as soon as he did it, I was like, he's just throwing it.
That Tebow.
Yeah, he did. He hits that little stutter in the backfield, and I'm like, yep, he's throwing it, bro. So, Terrance, hit us with some statistics on the Colts. How they looking?
Yeah, so some interesting facts for the Colts are that they're +9 on the turnover ratio. Their defense has only given up 2 rushing touchdowns. So that's a great sign when you go to look at someone like the Titans who are in their division. And obviously, the strong part of the offense is running the ball. So really stout up front. Also, we're going to look at Carson Wentz. Coming into this week, Carson Wentz, according to Pro Football Focus, Carson Wentz has been credited with 1 turnover-worthy play. That's insane.
That's crazy. That is pretty crazy.
And then also we have, honestly, when you look at it, it's crazy to think, but the 2 top rushers are in the same division. They're in the AFC South with Derrick Henry at 1 and Jonathan Taylor at 2.
That man, Jonathan Taylor snapping. He remind me a lot. He remind me a lot of like a Dalvin Cook type of running back. I mean, maybe he probably doesn't catch the ball as good as Dalvin, but he runs kind of like Dalvin.
Yeah, he's playing really good right now. And that's what we have on the Colts right now as far as that's what stood out to me the most. And also what stood out as well was that they're outscoring opponents, scored more touchdowns than their opponents scored on them, as well as they've made more field goals and kicked more field goals than their opponents as well. So, I mean, they're moving the ball, they're scoring points, and they're not allowing, teams to just run on them. Maybe they got to tighten up a little bit on the back end. They've allowed 18 touchdowns total. Like I said, 2 have been rushing, 16 through the air. So maybe tighten up a little bit on the back end. And maybe they have a really good defense.
Yeah, sure. DeForest Buckner is a big dude to try to run the ball at. I'm sure the Niners wish they had him still on the Niners and not, clogging up the middle. So moving forward, we're gonna hit the 4th and 5 segment. Nick, I'm gonna ask you, was Sean McVay and the Rams right about moving off Jared Goff? And fun fact, Sean McVay actually apologized to Goff about how all of it went down.
I'll start with the last part of that. I mean, we always say business is business, but I think that it wasn't that they didn't like each other, but let's face it, everyone knew the second that the move was made, it was the right decision because the type of play calling that Sean McVay likes to call, the weapons that they had at hand with the addition of Deshaun Jackson, and then plus the fact that they were going to be so, weakened at running back position, everything made sense. I hate to say it, but Jared Goff's not an awful quarterback. He's now in an awful situation, so he looks awful. But the thing is, he's Matty Ice Light. I mean, he's just another one of those. He's accurate between like 10 to 15 yards. Anything beyond that, it starts getting shaky. He's not a big play quarterback. He's a smart quarterback. But everything you didn't have with Goff, you now have with Matt Stafford. Yes, he might miss some throws here and there because he's not the most accurate, but he still has the ability to make the plays that you want to make. And it showed. They're easily top 5. I don't think anyone would disagree. They're a top 5 team now. They're one of the top 5 offenses. And look at the difference now. We're saying before the year, we were talking about Cooper Kupp is probably the second best wide receiver for any team. And now he's looking like a legitimate starter and probably going to have an all-pro season, if not first team all-pro.
Yeah, he definitely is. But I mean, I brought this up on Twitter. I got into it with somebody about it. He is a number 2 option. He's better than having the number 2 of Juju or anybody else. It's just talent-wise, he ain't better than those dudes. But off sheer volume that he's getting this year, he's going to finish probably 1 or 2 because they're just getting the ball and feeding him.
Stafford loves him. So
Stafford and him have this crazy chemistry and they're rolling. Talking about Jared Goff, I feel like Jared Goff, if he was on a team that was run dominant where he could benefit from play action like he did with Gurley, I think he would actually look good. But
yeah, he could probably be just as good as like Tannehill in Tennessee.
Yeah, I'd honestly might take him over Tannehill in Tennessee. Like if he was really rolling, like I'm talking about Goff that you had when he had Gurley. Like if I can get that Goff compared to the
we honestly haven't talked enough about how disappointing Tannehill's been this year.
Yeah, I mean, people were saying he was better than Lamar. He was light years better than Matt Ryan. Said he was
going to be that was my pick for surprise player was going to be Tannehill this year.
I mean, if you look at it, the weapons haven't been healthy. And then, I mean, they didn't get him another tight end, which is kind of weird. You let your tight end go, didn't get him a tight end, didn't even try to re-sign Corey Davis, who I feel like is really good. Like he's respectable. I would have brought him back. So it's just, that's strange behavior. Do you think, Terrance, that Derrick Henry is pulling away this MVP or is it someone else?
I mean, for me, at this point in time, it's got to be between the likes of Derrick Henry. He's definitely one of the front runners for sure. Like no doubt about it. Like nobody's seen this Titans team having the amount of success that they've had, and for the most part, it's all on his shoulders. I mean, he's carrying his team to victories, and Kyler Murray, obviously, Cardinals are undefeated right now. It's insane, at the level that they're playing right now. Granted, he does have some great weapons on offense. And yeah, I'll probably
between them two.
Between Derek and Kyler right now for sure.
I know a lot of people are going to give you flack for this, man. We're about to talk about him, Tom Brady not being up there, but to me, I can't put Tom up in there between those two because he be throwing the ball. They be already up. Like there's times where you could just pull them and sit them, and they're just chasing like the stats or the records.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They'd be up so early sometimes. I'm like, bro, like what is he doing? Like, what are you all doing? Like
he probably didn't even have to play. They could have let Kyle Trask play against the Bears get some experience.
Honestly, they rolled the Bears so bad. I know our man Ant over at the Fly Route Pod was out there hurting over that.
He would have been screaming, fuck 12 again.
Oh, for sure. For sure he was going to say that. He'll be back with us next week. He has some business to attend to this week, but he'll be back next week. Nick, Tom Brady gets a 600 touchdown pass, and a fan lucks up. I'm going to tell you why he lucks up. This fan, he got the ball, right? Mike Evans, for some reason, gives up the ball. He's not aware of it, in the moment. I get it. The fan, in turn, gives the ball back to like a representative of the team. I think it was Tom's friend, like one of his like close friends. And Tom even said if the the fan held the ball and didn't give it back and kind of like argued what he wanted, he probably would have got more. But the fan gave the ball back before he even like said like anything. And then I guess they worked out a deal. This man got lucky. He's a dude from Tampa, Brian Kennedy of St. Petersburg. He gets 2 signed Tom Brady jerseys and a helmet. He gets 1 Mike Evans signed jersey plus game cleats, which is wild. He's getting the game cleats. And he gets $1,000 credit at the Bucks team store, 2 season tickets for the remainder of this year and next year. I know they ain't gonna put him in the end zone anymore, so they probably gonna have him at some nice.
I think he's getting a Bitcoin too.
Yes, that's the other thing. He is getting a Bitcoin. Tom's giving him a Bitcoin.
However, man, at this point, they said the ball worth what, 500,000, right?
750,000.
Now, this is the thing. So one, let's just talk about how
Let's hear it,
crazy let's talk about how crazy it is. Like, he gave the ball back, and I'm glad that they're doing stuff for him. I'm not hating on it, but like, think about how nuts that is. Like this.
Oh, he's pissed right now. He's big pissed.
But this is the thing. The only thing I have to say about the ball being worth that much, one, if you're talking about like 10, we're talking about it's 750,000 right now. In 10 years, that ball, when Tom retires, bro, that ball would be millions. So
easy.
Yeah, so you missed out on that. But the thing is like the only bad thing about that is like no one signed that ball. Like, how do you prove unless if you can find some game footage where you're the guy getting the ball?
Well, that had it on TV. It was on TV, so
that's the only thing. But I'm trying to make it up for the guy. But money isn't everything. I mean, the only thing he's got to tell himself is money isn't everything. You got to be a part of history, and you got some shit out of it, man. So
I'm sure they're probably going to continue to try to do stuff.
He got 1 Bitcoin, which is like 70 grand.
Yeah, the Bitcoin worth 60, 70 grand. He's
gonna come back, but he's gonna come back, and I'm sure whenever they score touchdowns and stuff, they might give him some more balls.
How mad do you think he'll be? How mad do you think he'll be?
Oh, he's big pissed.
No, but think. So you got the remainder of this season and next season. Tom and everyone retires this year, and now he's got the season tickets for those doo-doo Bucks again. Oh my god!
Hey, I gotta look at the aspect of I don't feel bad. I think the only thing
he must be a diehard fan. That's the only thing.
No, yeah, he probably is a diehard fan. But the only thing that's wrong to me that he did is that he gave the ball back. Because if Jit would have held the ball, he could have been like, "No, I want this." Like he could have said what he
could have negotiated. Yeah, he could like. Nah, I'll tell you what I'm getting.
Yeah. He had to.
I'll tell you what I'm getting.
Yeah, so that's all.
He probably could have got a couple $100,000. Like, no, I won't.
I'll take cash value, sir. Keep all your stuff. I want cash value.
Hey,
I want 750,000.
Tom, talk to me tomorrow when they talk about the worth of this ball.
Hey, what's funny though is that fans are gonna start keeping the ball now. So I think they're going to start telling players like, hey, if you think someone's about to snap a record this game, do not put the ball in the stands.
Oh, they're going to be more conscious of it. And that's the only reason why Mike Evans gave the ball away, because he didn't know. So they're definitely going into the game, hey, or going into the drive, hey, and if you catch a touchdown from me, don't get the ball away.
I feel like there's no way they didn't talk about it before the game. You're only 3 away, and I'm sorry, Ant, but you're going into playing the Bears, bro. Like, there's no way they didn't know he was about to break that record. Like, how did y'all not talk?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no way they didn't talk about it.
He snapped into it. It's pretty crazy. I kind of like I'm not gonna lie, I like the Mike Evans Tom Brady connection. I think it's pretty dope to see. I wish Mike Evans had better hands at times because he'd be dropping the ball, it'd be pissing me off. But it's nice to see because I remember going to a preseason game, and I think it's when the Patriots had got Moss, and my grandpa took me. Randy ran one route, a go, caught it 6-yard bomb, sat down the rest of the game, just chilled. It was like, okay, like helmet off, started taking everything off. He was just chilling. So it's dope to see. Shout out to the fan though. He got pretty lucky. I think it's cool regardless. So
yeah,
he didn't make away like a bandit with it, but he still got something out of it, which is nice.
It's all the proof he needed right here, Nick.
Yeah, the picture.
That's it right there.
Yeah,
that's all he needed.
That's all he really needed. It's pretty crazy. Terrance, what's wrong with the Niners, bro? What do you think is wrong with the San Francisco 49ers?
Man, I mean, they're missing Kittle.
They're always missing Kittle.
So, I mean, I'm going to say, okay, they're missing Kittle. And then also, I don't know. It's
just, I don't know.
Because when you think about it, okay, Ayuk had a great season last year. And this year, Deebo Samuel's having a great year, but Ayuk is barely being used. So honestly, it's just I don't know. Their running game isn't the same, so maybe that could be the reason why.
All right, Nick, I'm gonna put it in your corner because I hear a couple of Niners fans on Twitter. I got a Niners fan that's a friend. They're blaming Kyle Shanahan. They said that Kyle Shanahan is getting he doesn't get the blame like other coaches do.
All right, well, I'll put it to you like this. Kyle Shanahan was our offensive coordinator when we had arguably one of the best offenses, or we had the best offense of the decade. You know, obviously the Patriots had it in the 2000s with the 2000 team, or 2017. But no, I'll tell you exactly what it is. One, there was quarterback controversy going into the year. You drafted a quarterback. What are we going to do with Jimmy G versus, Trey Lance? The running backs haven't been healthy. George Kittle has not been healthy. The wide receivers are there, but you're mixing in too much with the quarterbacks. You don't know what's happening day to day, and we know how much chemistry goes into it. And then on top of that, look at who they've had to play. So you start out the year versus the Lions and the Eagles. You won both those games, which were winnable games. So that's what you're supposed to do. Then you ran into the Green Bay right as they hit their stride. You had Seattle when they still had Russ, the Cardinals, who've been the surprise team of the year. Then you have the bye week, and you go right into playing the Colts. So, I mean, you're playing the gauntlet right now. You have Chicago next week, so hopefully you can make a bounce back. But it's just been every wrong thing that could happen has happened to them.
Yeah, I just look at it as they should have moved off Jimmy G while they could have and just signed a backup behind Trey Lance. And because they've been dealing with injuries ever since, even before the Super Bowl, when they went to the Super Bowl. They've been dealing with injuries all the time. Yeah. Kittle's great, but he's always banged up. Like, yeah. I would have just been like, you know what? If Trey gonna learn this year, he gonna learn this year. Because you moved up and gave up so much to get him. That's the thing to me. Like, you gave up so much to get him.
Insane.
You should have tried to get some of that back by trading Jimmy. And there's still teams. You got a whole nother week to do this. Like, the Broncos would take Jimmy G. There's teams that would take Jimmy. The Browns would probably take Jimmy G. Okay. So you need to get on the phone and be like, hey, we'll move him. Just give us something back in return. So
the other thing is, all these games have been close other than the Colts game. All of them have been within one possession. So,
I mean, the Colts game honestly was close. It was end of the game.
It was weird because the Colts game was close, but since it was raining so much, there was like a couple bobs of the ball. Everything wasn't super smooth.
Yeah.
Jimmy threw the interception, and some throws he looked bad, but then again, it's pouring rain, so you can't really judge it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, how are they even completing the ball? You know. So
think about this. You lost 30-28 to the Packers. You lost 28-21 to the Seahawks, and then you lost 17-10 to the Cardinals, and you held them to 17 points with all those weapons and the Cliff Kingsbury offense and everything they've done this year. So to me, they're the best 4 losing streak team I've probably ever seen. But
you know what's crazy is that they're missing their star corner Barrett from that got drafted by the Chargers. Yeah, and you gotta think they had to guard DeAndre Hopkins, bro. They had to guard Devontae Adams. Like, I don't even know how
that's what I'm saying.
They're pulling this off. Yeah, like, how are they pulling this off?
Now, what I will say is they're probably not going to get much better either. This is probably going to be a wash of a season for them because, again, the injuries and everything. But they play in that division, so I mean, you got to play everybody else again. And they still haven't even played the Rams yet, so you got two against them.
They can beat Seattle. I thought they were going to beat Seattle.
They could beat Seattle.
So they could beat Seattle now. They could beat Seattle. But to me, I move Jimmy G and I give Trey Lance the keys, bro. Like, you get your experience this year because next year, bro, we're rolling. Like, I don't care. Because you got to think, they got to play Bosa soon, too. Yeah. So you're going to be like, oh, well, we got to load out the bank for him because I don't know how he's been performing this year, but you saw what he did before the injury. So if he's even half of a shell of that, you're like, okay, yeah, we got to pay him. So it's crazy. Speaking of teams with win streaks and everything, who do you think's win streak is going to get snapped next week, this week coming up? The Titans got a 3-game win streak. They're going to go play the Colts. The Cowboys got a 5-game win streak. They're about to go see the Vikings. The Cardinals, they're undefeated, 7 straight. They're about to go play the Packers. The Rams, 3 straight. Obviously, we know they're going to beat the Texans. The Packers, 6 straight. They're going to the Cards. And then the Bucks with 4 straight going against the Saints. Who will get their streak snapped this week, Nick? Give me one team.
Despite Devontae Adams being out, and despite Valdez Scantling still being out, we are gonna have
Adam Lazard now too.
And that's what I meant. Alan Lazard is now out, and then also Valdez-Scantling's out. I think that the Green Bay Packers are going to give it to the Cardinals. I think it'll be a shootout, and I think it'll be a great game. But at a certain point, listen, bro. At a certain point, these teams are going to lose a game. They're going to lose a game. And I think it's going to be this week. Now, I wouldn't be, but this is what I'll say. The caveat to that is it could go one way or another. It could be either a close game and the Packers win it, or it could be like week 1 again for the Packers, and Aaron Rodgers has a horrible game because he's missing his top 2 weapons.
Fun fact: caveat is the wrong term to use in that situation. I learned that. my uncle told me that. He learned it. So that's the wrong terminology to use. Nick about to look it up to make sure.
Yeah, I'm about to look it up.
It's not what you think. It means, you know how we say caveat to say something bad? It means something good.
No, it doesn't. It means a warning or for a stipulation, which is what I just said. So the stipulation.
All right, then Kevin Stewart's lying. Anyway.
So, I mean, for me, I think I'm on the opposite side of it. I think the Pack will get their six straight beat. But I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that the Vikings beat the Cowboys.
I can see it.
I like that pick because I want to see it.
I think between the Vikes pass rush, I don't think the Cowboys got an answer for Dalvin Cook. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think both can score points. I just think as a whole unit, the Vikings unit has been together for some years now, guys that they've drafted and brought in. And I think they've been together they got like 5, 6, 7 guys that have been there for the past like 5, 6, 7 years. And then, they have a running game and they also have receivers as well. So I feel like, Trayvon Diggs can't cover JJ and Thielen.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like this week gonna be a challenge. Not saying he ain't had challenges along the season, but I feel like this week, because ain't if someone else coming to the side, I get a little bit of break. You don't get a break. And if I'm Kirk Cousins, this is the game I need to just light it up. Because you gotta make Minnesota believe that there was a reason to pay you. If you don't
they're gonna be able to run the ball, but I think they're gonna be able to throw it as well.
So you gotta go light it up. Because if you don't, if I'm Minnesota, low key, I'm thinking about playing Kellen Mond at some point. Like I'm considering it. And I'm gonna ask the team if they want Kirk Cousins. Look at the money you paying this man.
Send him back to Washington.
They probably beg for him, honestly.
Good.
Yeah, so we got some for this overtime segment. We did not have it for you guys last week. We brought it back this week, and we got some little trade special running this week too. So, guys, for the first half, we're gonna do questions. Second half, we're gonna get into trades, and then I will be the GM, and you'll be trying to get a player off my team. Everybody good? Everybody got it?
We ready?
All right, Nick, we're gonna get you out of here for the game. You might miss the first 2 innings, if that.
Oh, it's all good.
All right, the Saints gave up 8 draft picks to move up and draft me in the draft. Am I Bob Sanders, Edgerrin James, Jamal Lewis, or Ricky Williams?
I'm gonna go with Ricky Williams.
All right, Terrance, you got?
Yeah, I was gonna go Ricky too.
You going Ricky too? All right, you both are correct. It is Ricky Williams. They gave up all that draft capital for Ricky not to pan out.
Bro, you know how pissed I would have been?
Do y'all know who his agency was?
No, we don't. Hit us with it.
Master P's.
Yeah, it was Master P.
Agency was the one that that was the first athlete they signed.
Hey, people forget No Limit was really running a lot of aspects of different things.
Boy.
And Master P played in the league. That man is so smart. It's crazy, bro. People forget that.
For the Raptors.
That man know how to get the bag.
He knows how to get it easily. All right, so Tampa Bay traded away 2 first-round picks to get me. Was I Vincent Jackson, Jerry Rice, Keyshawn Johnson, or Joey Galloway? Who am I, Nick?
2 first-round draft picks to get me. It wasn't Vincent Jackson.
I don't know why I want to go Keyshawn.
That's probably gonna be my pick. Say him one more time. It's not Joey Galloway because he was old when they got him.
Joey Galloway, Jerry Rice, Vincent Jackson, or Keyshawn Johnson.
All right, I'm gonna go Keyshawn Johnson.
Where you going, cuz?
I think it's Keyshawn. As soon as you said it, that's the only name.
All right, it is Keyshawn. And fun fact, they gave up those 2 picks to get Keyshawn Johnson, and then they traded Keyshawn for Joey Galloway. for a 1-for-1 swap. It's the craziest thing ever. But it wasn't that same time they did it. They had Keyshawn for a little bit and then did it after him.
Yeah, for sure.
Him and Gruden didn't get along, because Keyshawn caught him.
Oh, trust me, I remember Keyshawn playing down there. That boy used to call him crybaby.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. So, moving on, third question of the day. I was traded to the Broncos for Clinton Portis. Am I Brandon Marshall, John Elway, Shannon Sharp, or Champ Bailey? Who am I, Terrance?
Traded to the Broncos for Clinton Portis.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first and last name?
Shannon Sharp, Champ Bailey, Brandon Marshall, or John Elway? Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I'm going to go Champ.
All right. Who you going, Nick?
Brandon Marshall. I'm like almost certain because
I couldn't remember.
In the league before Clinton Portis.
So you got Brandon and you got Champ?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Terrance. It was Champ Bailey.
It was.
It wasn't
so
Brandon.
I knew it was Brandon or Champ. I couldn't remember which one.
I was like, damn, because first of all, Shannon and John Elway were in the league before them, and
I knew it on them. I'm like, it's Brandon Marshall or Champ Bailey.
I thought I was gonna get one of y'all with putting them in. I was like, I feel
Clinton
like
Portis was raw, bro.
No, bro, but for real. But people don't know that. People don't know that. People are like,
he just got caught up in some schemes too.
Yeah,
I honestly thought Champ Bailey got drafted before Clinton Portis, so obviously I swapped him.
All right, now we're gonna get to the second half of this. Terrance, you took home overtime this week. Nick, you gave a good effort, but you didn't win.
It was Hey, it was solid. It was solid.
All right.
I don't care as long as I don't lose the keys.
All right. I am gonna play the Texans. Terrance, pick an organization you want to. I'm gonna be the Texans GM. Terrance, pick an organization you want to be other than the Patriots, and Nick, pick an organization you want to be other than the Falcons.
For sure, I'm gonna go Packers.
Packers. Okay. What about you, Nick?
Situation.
All right, I'm gonna go. I think I know where this is going, so I'm gonna be the Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers. All right, so you know what we got going on with Mr. Massage Guy. We don't know if these allegations are true, but we would like to get him off this team. What can you do for me, Mr. General Manager Owens?
Well, I can't do nothing for you.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I know exactly where this is going.
Well, I was thinking I would be able to propose something to you. So I was going to say I'm trying to get Brandon Cooks from the Texans.
Well, what would you give me for Brandon Cooks?
For Brandon Cooks, I think he's worth a second rounder. I give up a second rounder. Brandon Cooks.
Can I get a second round of Eric Stokes, the cornerback you guys just drafted?
Ooh. You know what? That's a deal.
I said, I know Packers Nation hates you, bro, because you leaving Kevin King out there. I know they don't like you.
Listen,
you
man got to put up a shut
time.
up. He got to put up a shut up, bro. So at the end of the day, you giving Aaron Rodgers a guy and Brandon Cooks who's still playing lights out on a Texans team, which I don't know how in the hell he's doing what he's doing. He looking like, at this point, he looking like DeAndre Hopkins. Remember, at one point, DeAndre Hopkins had, what was his name? He played for the Broncos. He played for the Texans. He played for, what was his name? Brock Osweiler. He had Brock Osweiler. He had, man, all kinds of just. Yeah,
all right. Well, now since you got that trade out, pick another team because we're trying to do the Deshaun Watson trade too.
Yeah, you can go Deshaun. You can go to the Nick.
All right, Nick, what you got to offer?
Let's assume, and this is assuming everything works out. All right, let's assuming that his allegations drop and he's going to play. I'm going to give you Sam Darnold, a first-round pick, and you have no leverage, so I know that's going to fall through.
I don't necessarily want Sam Darnold. I feel like he's damaged goods.
Well, I mean, at this point, you're going to have to get a quarterback for it. So,
I think I'm the GM of the Texans. Okay,
I'm just saying.
He said he rocking and rolling with Tyrod and Davis Mills.
Yeah, honestly, Davis Mills isn't playing too bad for me. We ain't winning no games, but he ain't playing that bad. Is there any way that I can get Sam Darnold and Chuba Herbert or Christian McCaffrey?
Definitely not Christian McCaffrey in this deal, but I would give you Chuba Hubbard. I'd be willing to give that up.
So all right.
In that package.
I want Chuba Herbert, Sam Darnold, and I want Terrance Marshall Jr., the rookie you guys drafted from LSU.
That would be a no. I'm gonna give you that first round pick.
I'm gonna need a first and a second round pick.
First and a fourth.
First and a third.
All right. We got Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. You're a Carolina fan. Hold on, time out. Do you have it?
We already signed the contract.
You got any play for a team you want to put in right now, Terrance, to get Watson?
I mean, I could go Broncos.
What are you going to give me? I don't want to send him to the AFC, but if you give me something better than what Nick is offering, I might send him.
Broncos, I'm going to give you either Teddy B or Drew Lock, along with Fuller in a first.
No, I'm going to send him to the Panthers.
Okay.
All right.
Rest said, nah, put him in the NFC.
Yeah, pretty much. That deal wasn't as good as Nick's deal. But, trade deadlines next week. What is something you want to see happen next week, Terrance?
I'm not going to lie. I honestly think Brandon Cooks should get traded. I think Ayuk should get traded from the 49ers. I think Jimmy G should get traded from the Niners.
Can he get traded while he's hurt, though?
He's not hurt. Trey's hurt.
Yeah, he's not hurt. Yeah, okay. Trey's hurt. I mean, he's still good because we just traded Stephon.
Yeah.
What else would I like to see potentially? You can say something, Nick. Maybe I might piggyback.
Yeah, Nick, what move you got you want to see? Big moves you want to see, or just a move you want to see?
The thing is as much as I hate the franchise, Washington's got to make a play for a quarterback. That's like the biggest thing because they have, I'm sorry, the defense isn't playing up to par, but they're still a good defense. But they have unlimited weapons. I mean, not unlimited, but they've got decent weapons on offense. Literally all you need is a quarterback. And I feel bad for Heineke or however you say his name, but he's just not it. And if you could get somebody like a Jimmy G or literally there's a couple guys, Drew Lock, Gardner Minshew, these guys aren't going to be franchise quarterbacks, but they'd be upgrades for you and could definitely do a little more than what you got with Heineke.
I feel like the Jimmy G one wouldn't be bad because he could probably learn from him, and then Heineke could probably build off of whatever Jimmy teaches him. So I feel like that wouldn't be bad. I'm gonna throw something out there pretty crazy. I don't think it's gonna happen, but get a load of this. What if the Browns, they got the whole issue with Baker. They don't know what to do with Case Keenum. What if they get involved in the Deshaun Watson trade? What if you're the Texans and they send you back Baker, say 2 firsts, and then maybe one of those defensive players at corner, like Greedy Williams or something? Would you send him Watson? And if you're the Browns, would you even entertain the chance of getting Watson?
I'll say if I'm the Browns, I wouldn't entertain it because as much as that sounds awesome because that Deshaun wouldn't be scared to get OBJ the ball. Thinking realistically, we don't know what's going to happen with all the stuff. And Roger Goodell has proven time and time again, he's the final word, not even the court of law. So, I mean, he could still suspend him even if everything gets dropped. But, and you're thinking Super Bowl this year if you're the Browns. I know it hasn't looked like that, but I wouldn't entertain it. But it sounds good.
What about you, Tom?
I mean, yeah, I probably would keep it the way it is. I probably wouldn't accept it if I was the Browns, like you said, just based off of the allegations and stuff. And then, I mean, Baker, I guess he's still coming along, I guess. And then you have, if anything, we can win games without OBJ. And, two-headed monster comes back. Okay, that's really going to help Baker out a lot. Then let's say we trade OBJ and we get some assets either for him. We can even potentially get another receiver, draft capital.
What if the Niners do the swap for Ayuk and Odell?
I mean, I can see it happening. The one the blockbuster, if we're talking something earth-shattering with OBJ, would be OBJ to Green Bay. That would be the earth-shattering one for me because I could see them doing that. They've been complaining about how, they're a little one-dimensional with Devontae Adams. You add OBJ to that team, that almost like the equalizer for what Tampa has between Godwin, Evans, and Antonio Brown. So, I mean, like, you literally even the playing field right there. Because Tanya is probably the most underrated tight end.
Oh, Tanya's
I got a trade
a sure catcher. I like Tanya a lot.
Yeah.
So what about Xavier Howard to the Titans?
I mean,
I would like it, but it wouldn't fix the problem.
Yeah, I don't think.
I mean, it makes them better.
It makes them better, but like they got some cap issues. Like if Odell were to go to the Niners, there's not really a cap issue. That could work. Even Deshaun going to the Browns, like they could move money around because they were gonna have to pay Baker anyway. So those two, like hypothetically, probably work. I just feel like the Titans, because they had to eat Julio's cap and then pay Atlanta for whatever. I feel like that's just too much to risk. I mean, honestly, you probably could risk it because you just lost your first round draft pick. So I can see where you're going with that, Terrance, because like you're hurting that corner.
I mean, the Broncos might be willing to move off of Fuller as well, potentially.
If I'm the Bucs, I would look in to lock in to get a corner because you're gonna roll the rest of your schedule. Your schedule you might get a loss here and there, but your schedule ain't too tough. You need to be ready when you go play those teams that are like.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe they can pull Fuller from the Broncos.
So we got Fuller. Anybody else we missing that could be some trade bait or anything? I think Hayden Hurst might get moved from Atlanta.
Yeah, Hayden Hurst. Yeah, he might get moved too, for sure.
I don't think you should move him, but I feel like because Kyle Pitts is snapping, they see him now. I think he probably get out of there.
If you know Arthur Smith's offense, though, he likes 2 tight ends, so I don't think that'll happen.
I feel like he's going to keep the old dude and just send Hayden for. I'm not saying he should keep the old dude, but I just feel like that's what he's going to do. I know
I'm not even thinking I'm telling you, like, it's not going to happen because if it did, I would be shocked because genuinely he likes 2 receiving tight ends. He likes the short game. Now, the difference is obviously, like we said, they tried Pitts in the short game. It didn't work. He's a seam route runner, and he's been, attacking the gaps. I genuinely don't see it. Not even being a biased Atlanta fan, like, because I like Hayden Hurst. I just, from a scheme perspective, it wouldn't make sense to keep Lee Smith and not Hayden Hurst.
Does Marlon Mack get moved or does he get
That
released?
would be a good one. We need Marlon.
He's going to get moved. He's going to get moved. And I think, even the Ravens, honestly.
I don't think the Colts will do it. The Colts, I feel like it's tough for teams in the AFC because I never really thought about this until like I started looking
into
it.
Ronald Jones. Maybe y'all looking to Ronald Jones.
I think it's easier to go from conference to conference, but when you stay in that conference, I feel like it's tough. And I feel like for us to get Marlon Mack, the Colts will want so much. And it's
tough for the right price. Y'all would do it though. I mean, they would do it for the right price.
To me, I wouldn't do it because they got offensive line issues. So if they ask too much, like to just get him and he's going to be a 1-year deal. And then you got all those running backs coming back next year. The real thing is the offensive line. Like, because I don't count us as a Super Bowl. I know Nick said we could probably get there, but
maybe y'all can get Andre Dillard from the Eagles, or maybe
Miles Sanders. Maybe the Eagles would be like, "Hey, we'll deal Sanders to you."
They need to trade him. They're not using him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't even think. I thought Miles Sanders was really good. I don't know what Philly got going on, or they just like, hey, he's not really good.
Dumpster juice. That's all.
And the Dolphins don't seem to be all in on Tua anymore. They had the whole tank for Tua last year. To me, they shouldn't even have tanked for him. Why'd you tank for him? It doesn't make any sense.
I think the Bears should trade Akeem Hicks and they should trade Khalil Mack. Maybe even Allen Robinson as well. You're not winning games. You got Khalil Mack and you getting 30 put up on you? 38?
I agree with the Khalil Mack thing, not because I think he's not good anymore. I actually think he's still got a lot left in the tank. Or I shouldn't say a lot.
You can still get a ransom.
He's 30, 31, and you can still get a lot for him. Send him to a team that's ready to win now, that needs help at that position. And like, I mean, y'all would be a great place for I don't know what your cap situation is, Keith, but it would be a great place because that rookie is the only pass rusher y'all really got at this point. So that'd be a good pickup. But I mean, let's face it, y'all's bigger needs are on offense. So
I think honestly, Khalil Mack, Terrance brought up a good point. If I'm the Bears organization, you see how bad that line is. Justin Fields looks bad. Don't get me wrong. He is playing bad, but he looks even worse because the offensive line is so bad.
Yeah.
You got to trade everybody. All those dudes that can get you any value. Let Justin Fields have kind of a rough year because you already showed you ain't putting Andy Dalton back in. You're just going to rock with Justin Fields. Darnell Mooney, Justin Fields probably going to have a rough year. So is the tight end comment. But I move Allen Robinson. Maybe the Patriots put up a hell of a bag to go get him.
We got to do. I hope we make a move to trade for somebody before the deadline. And it's crazy because Bill, this is the year, this offseason where he's like went crazy with, like, oh man, unexpected moves. Like nobody expected Bill to go out there and spend $90 million or to just be going out there spending all this money like that. And I mean, the additions have definitely helped. Like Hunter Henry has caught touchdowns in 4 straight games.
It need to pay off
coming on
because it don't look. Judon to me is the only one that's paid off so far. I think Hunter's playing good. I think John Smith ain't showing up. Nelson Aguilar is. I don't know where he's at. Sometimes he's there. Sometimes he's not.
We're coming on a little bit more now.
Yeah, I think you just got to see. But that is the wrap of our overtime segment. Nick's ready to get out of here. We got to see if Atlanta Braves win the World Series. Well, Nick,
we got to bring one home to the A.
Yeah, Nick wanted to bring one home to the A. We'll be back next week. We'll have Ant from a Fly Route Pod with us again. Thank you for tuning in to the guys, and hey, we'll catch you next week.
Oh yeah.